I be like, sheesh, sunset on the beach. Make me wanna pull up on Miami with the heat. I don't know about you.
Welcome back to the Anytime Sports Podcast Show. This time we actually got it in person, Andrew, for the first time in
It's been like
a year or so.
No,
or two?
2.5 years.
Yeah, 2.5 years.
It's been a long time. Yeah.
Back in the old studio, which is in Andrew's basement.
Yeah.
So.
We're back at it.
We're back at it, and we just thought we'd talk about free agency.
Yeah.
Right now, there's a lot of free agency that came out, and it might be news to all y'all, but it might not be news, and everyone might know this, but we should probably just recap it and see what our thoughts are on it. We'll start with the AFC East. Josh Allen agreed to his new terms on his deal, 6 years worth $330 million, $250 million guaranteed. A guy that you want in your organization.
Yeah, both on and off the field. He's a great guy, at least from what we see in the media. And he could win them games. He could bring them to the playoffs. He just can't get to that Super Bowl yet. Maybe in those other 6 years that he's extended to, you'll get to a Super Bowl. We might see that soon. I don't know. It's an ever-changing team.
There's just so many great quarterbacks that are in the league nowadays. Josh Allen is probably the most athletically gifted quarterback in the NFL. I think he might be the most talented quarterback in the NFL. But I don't think his supporting cast is someone as better as the Chiefs' supporting cast were. I mean, they have an amazing organization from top to bottom. And even when Patrick Mahomes got placed into there, they still were a good organization before with Alex Smith.
Yeah.
He kind of had to build the Bills back up because the Bills were not very good when he got there.
Yeah.
And he kind of built them into what it is now. But he's definitely
he's a guy you want on your team, and especially for the future. They have that new stadium that's going up, so Buffalo's only on the up and up right now. It just depends what they can do in the playoffs these coming years, but Josh Allen is still young. He's got a lot of football to play, so we'll see that.
And something interesting I want to point out, Joey Bosa signed a 1 year, $12.6 million deal with $12 million guaranteed. So this seems like a Super Bowl run push. We're going all in this year. We need to win one. We need to win one for Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good signing. Joey Bosa, he's not as athletically gifted as he used to be.
Yeah.
He's kind of slower down, but he's still a great pass rusher.
Yeah, he's only 29 years old.
He's 29.
Too. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think he offers probably what you thought Von Miller was going to
Exactly.
do. Von Miller's, I don't think is he still there on the team?
No, I don't believe so. I think that was his last year.
I think it was the last year, but it's kind of what you wanted Von Miller to be when he arrived in Buffalo. I think you'll get that with Joey Bosa a little bit better.
Yeah.
You need more pass rush, and especially against Patrick Mahomes, you got to get him on the ground in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, there's been a lot of Joey Bosa had a lot of injuries these past couple of years. But if he can stick it together, that's a key piece for that defense. That was Joey Bosa was a big story this offseason because he said he was going to sign with the Niners and be with Nick Bosa. And then the Bills swooped in before he officially signed his contract and said, hey, we're going to offer you this amount of money. You want to come play with us for more money? And he did exactly that. And then Bills basically just swooped in and stole Bosa from the Niners. That was an interesting story. A couple other things from the Bills. Khalil Shakir signed a 4-year extension up to $60 million. They signed Darrington Evans. He's been around the league. And then they signed Larry Ogunjobi on a 1-year, $8.3 million deal. And then DeMar Hamlin re-signed him to a 1-year deal. And other big one is Josh Palmer to a 3-year, $36 million contract. He's one of those guys that'll just kind of be in there, probably that wide receiver 2 slot. Or 3 slot. But yeah, that's basically it for the Bills. Moving to the Dolphins, a big one here is Zach Wilson. Really, Dolphins have been an interesting franchise recently, with Tua getting so banged up, and yeah.
I like how we've talked all year long about how the Dolphins need to get a quality backup.
Yeah.
To Tua, because we know Tua has injury issues, and he has medical issues that may keep him off the field, mainly his concussions. It's very interesting they decided to go with someone like Zach Wilson because is he really the most quality backup you could have gotten to fit that slot?
No.
I don't really think so. He was a backup in Denver, so I don't know. I don't know if you needed to spend a little bit more money on a quarterback in my idea. Zach Wilson, I'm not too thrilled about that.
No,
I'm not too thrilled about Miami in general because I just don't know with coaching and with quarterback health, Tyreek wanting out, stuff like that. It's all a mess there in Miami. I don't think it's going to get better this season if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
You have Alexander Madison. He signed a 1-year deal with the team. Whoop-de-doo. It's another running back they could put there. And, you have Devon Achane, who of course takes majority of the backfield, but he got hurt kind of last season too.
Yeah.
So you need to have a couple other guys to get in rotation along with him. Alexander Madison is a decent option. He was underutilized, I would say, in Las Vegas.
I would say
utilized very well. Looking back to his Minnesota days is where you kind of base a contract off of. Anyone else you want to talk about notably from Miami?
Larry Borum, he's a former Bear, signed a free agent deal.
It's not a bartering deal.
Not much out of the Dolphins organization besides those two guys. I mean, they
did lose Javon Holland.
They did,
big one that I really don't think benefits Miami. Losing a guy like him, he had an off season last year, but really was good before then. So I think that's a general loss.
Yeah.
But let's go to New England Patriots, Buzz's team. We did a deep dive in this thing, and we finally get to see what they ended up doing. So they agreed to a contract with Josh Dobbs for a 2-year, $8 million deal, $3.8 million fully guaranteed.
It's crazy.
It's a backup quarterback. You have Drake May. So
he's on a 2-year deal too. You never see Josh Dobbs getting a 2-year deal. It's always these 1-year deals, or he's picked up midseason and he keeps bouncing around and stuff.
But that means Milton's on the trading block now.
That is true. He could be on the trading block.
He could be on the trading block. You could be trying to get somebody to trade for him because you did sign a deal with Josh Dobbs. He's going to be your backup quarterback for 2 years, which is a decent backup quarterback.
Yeah.
So I won't give him that. But that's a decent signing, I guess. I mean, it's a really nothing move, to be honest.
Yeah.
Morgan Moses signed a 3-year, $24 million deal up to $28.5 million. I really don't know about him that much. I don't know if we could check out who he played for as well.
Matt Collins signed a 2-year, $8.4 million deal, and Austin Hooper re-signed on a 1-year deal for them. He played on the Jets.
Jets.
Yeah, the Jets this past year. He is 34 years old, so he's very old. For a 3-year deal for a 34-year-old lineman, too.
Old in the grand scheme of things in football. Let's just say that he's not old.
Not old, but in football.
In football, you're getting there towards the end of your career there. But he could still kick it, and hopefully he could protect what needed to be protected in Drake May. And he needs some protection like ASAP. So hopefully he'll add some protection. I'm not sure how Buzz feels about that one. We'll have to ask him about that one. But Harold Landry signed a 3-year, $43.5 million deal with $26 million guaranteed.
Yeah,
he is a edge rusher, I believe.
He used to play on the Titans.
Yeah,
he was
Titans.
out. He played college at Boston College. So, and he's 28 years old. So, still a little on the younger side. But moving to another big team, another team that could have needs to turn their stuff around. Got a new head coach. The New York Jets. Justin Fields signed a 2-year, $40 million deal with $30 million guaranteed, including a $15 million signing bonus and a $5 million base salary in 2025.
Yeah, I heard someone talking about, Justin Fields is the quintessential Jets quarterback.
Yeah.
He gives you enough to be excited about.
Yeah.
Because he's so athletically gifted.
That's what he did for the Bears.
Every once in a while, he can make a few plays.
Yeah.
But his lowlights are just as low as his highlights.
Yeah.
And it's a guy to just get you bought in just enough to get you excited for the year and for it to automatically crap itself on the plate. That's what Justin Fields is. He's not the best quarterback. Let's be honest. We're years away from the conversation of he could be an elite quarterback.
Yeah.
He's not. He's not that guy. He's a decent starter, I believe. He can win you a couple games if he comes in as a backup.
We saw that with the Steelers.
But I don't know. He's got his mentality is there to becoming a pro. He's not a diva. He's nothing like that. But he's a quintessential pro, and I think that'll be very good for Aaron Glenn, who's going to be a first-year head coach.
Yeah,
and have a guy like that instead of a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who is still a free agent as we speak as well.
Yeah, we'll touch on him later because he could be an interesting guy somewhere to land. But Justin Fields is a really interesting move for the Jets, especially that they're going for him on a 2-year deal, which proves that they're going to at least give him a shot. Now, could we see the Jets drafting a quarterback? Now, could we see the Jets picking up another guy in free agency? Now, are they full on with Justin Fields?
Draft again?
They could potentially draft a guy to sit behind Fields, but I don't think that Fields is going to be that guy to lead your franchise. Now, we saw this with Sam Darnold. We saw Sam Darnold struggle in the beginning of his career, and then we saw him go with the once he got to the Vikings, he resurrected his career, and then he just signed with the Seahawks. We'll get into that later. But it's really, if this is Justin Fields' team, he's going to prove it. He's got weapons. He's got Breece Hall. He's got Garrett Wilson. You got guys there.
They draft 7.
Yeah.
So
you're
not getting a quarterback in this draft. You're going to have to lose another year to get a good quarterback. And really, with the defensive-minded coaches, head coaches, they really don't care. I mean, they care about their quarterback position, but they're like, we'll win some games with Justin Fields. We'll win some games with, like, Russell Wilson, like what Mike Tomlin did last year. So defensive coaches have a different mindset about the offensive side of the ball, and they think they could just piecemeal it together. And that is not the case. I mean, we'll talk about Chicago and what they did finally. They finally got out of their defensive-minded route of their thinking. Bears, historically, a defensive team. Very good defense, rely on the run game.
Yeah.
They kind of flipped a 180 on that this year with a bunch of offensive lineman signings we'll talk about when we get there. But you can change the course of what people think about your team. And it's exciting. For some people, change is very exciting. And we'll see if this change with Aaron Glenn and the Jets are going to help out what they need. But let's go to the AFC North. So we got Baltimore. Baltimore didn't make very many moves, but they made a couple notable moves, like wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins signing a 1-year, $5 million contract.
Yeah.
So he's 30-something years old. He's 30. I want to say 33. Right?
I'll confirm that.
32 or 33.
He's on the older side. Because he's been bouncing around these past couple of years.
He was with the Chiefs
32.
Oh, okay, 32. Yeah. He was with the Chiefs last year. So he started out the year with the Titans, got traded to the Chiefs, signs a 1-year deal with Baltimore. He's not going to be used as much as he was probably used in Kansas City.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to lose even less. I think it's weird with how his usage is going to be. Is he very effective? I don't know if he's very effective.
Yeah, ever since his Cardinals days, he hasn't been what he used to be. And even in Tennessee, he had at least a couple of games that stick out to me that he did ball out, but I don't think that that's going to happen. In Baltimore really hasn't, since Lamar's there, they've utilized receivers, but they haven't utilized receivers to how other teams utilize receivers. So I think he's going to be kind of that guy, kind of like mentor these younger guys in a way. He'll get some reps, but
They did re-sign Ronnie Staley, so they re-signed him to a 3-year, $60 million contract, so that was good for their offensive line as well. Ben Cleveland was re-signed by the Ravens as well. They did a lot of re-signings, like Patrick Ricard re-signed for a 1-year, $2.872 million contract. So, and they signed Cooper Rush to a backup quarterback role. So that's just a backup quarterback. They didn't really do many additions, but they did lose a little bit on the defense side of the ball, I believe. But that was just their main goal, was re-signing a lot of the guys they had, which they did. Yeah. Moving to the Cincinnati Bengals, big topic of conversation this past few months.
Big offseason moves.
Not having the ability of an owner who wants to spend the money to keep the guys together to make a Super Bowl run.
Yeah.
They did right here. They re-signed Jamar Chase to a 4-year, $161 million extension, and they signed T. Higgins to a 4-year, $115 million deal, keeping the band together. Is this a combination that works? Because we saw it last year where it didn't work as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, you had T. Higgins had some injury concerns, but it didn't work as well. It was more on the defensive side of the ball, and it doesn't look like they really solved their problems on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, you definitely need a lot more defensive guys, especially if you're losing Trey Hendrickson too.
Yeah, Trey Henderson. Yeah, we haven't talked about that.
That defense is atrocious. Even in their Super Bowl run, that defense wasn't the greatest. They had a great offense.
It was better than what it was last year.
But still, even in the since the Bengals have been good, their defense
Bates was the real leader of that defensive side of the ball, and they still had
Yeah.
Hendrickson, and they had who was the other guy on the other side of the defensive
Hubbard.
line? Hubbard.
Yeah, he
yes.
just retired. Yeah.
Yes. So they had some pass rushers that were able to get to the quarterback. But now with Hendrickson, they said seek a trade. We're going to be trading you.
Yeah.
How can you take this team seriously? They did what you wanted to sign, and they signed Jamar Chase and T. Higgins back to the team, but they're just getting worse on defense. So
yeah,
it's really going to be, okay, Joe Burrow, can you throw me 5 touchdown passes every single game?
Yeah.
And we'll be maybe competitive. Like, it's kind of ridiculous, and I don't really take them seriously because of the fact that they're not willing to spend on defense side of the ball, or they're not willing to re-sign some players they really need. It's kind of it's really ridiculous.
Yeah, they're such a talented offensive team. You got these guys for 4 more years too, through 2029 now, right? Yeah. But you just need defense. They re-signed Gesicki. They brought back Samaj Pierny.
I don't get that.
Yeah.
Why bring back Samaje Perine?
Yeah, Perine, that's what it is, yeah. But, yeah, 2 years.
The one position you could draft is running backs, really.
Yeah.
And especially in the draft being a very good draft. And they do have Chase Brown, which is very good. He's a very good, scrappy little running back. But they need somebody else they can get in the draft. You don't need to re-sign a guy like Samaje Perine, who is really, as we could say, non-productive in his role last season.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of interesting things with the Bengals, and we did a deep dive on the Bengals, so make sure you check that out. But their defensive side definitely needs some attention. As for a team that also needs a lot of attention, the Cleveland Browns. They had a very interesting start to the offseason. This was a very random and weird trade. Kenny Pickett was acquired in a trade with the Eagles in exchange for Dorian Thompson-Robinson and a 5th-round pick in 2025. So I think Kenny Pickett's a good backup. I mean, obviously he started in Pittsburgh, and he's been on and off. He played a little last year with the Eagles, but especially for a team that probably is going to start like 5 quarterbacks this season. Deshaun doesn't know how to play and doesn't know how to keep his hands off women. But yeah, the Browns are just a whole nightmare. And there's another guy, Myles Garrett. He had anywhere to go. Any team would have signed him.
I lost respect for Myles Garrett because he said, I want out, I want to win a Super Bowl. And I said, okay, that's okay. I accept your reasoning behind it. But then he's like, what if you pay me enough? I'll stay. And I lost some respect when he signed that deal again. It was never about winning.
Yeah.
It was never about winning. This was a whole contract negotiating thing. Lose respect.
Yeah. Any team would have paid him. Weird. Any team would have paid the Browns multiple first-round picks. The Lions,
he would have got
Eagles.
the same amount of money he was getting and have a chance to win. Yeah. And then he just said, no, there's a play to get more money. Yeah. I lose a little bit of respect for a guy like that who goes in there and say, no, I finally want to win. Yeah. And he's having that stance since the Super Bowl. Yeah. And just re-signs back with his team, getting a massive extension.
It was a 4-year extension with $123 million guaranteed, an average per year salary of $40 million. Highest, I think he's the highest defensive or non-offensive player out there. But that's crazy. It's crazy because, like you were saying, he had a chance.
I mean, is he worth it? Yeah. I mean, he's worth it. He's a very good defensive player. He's getting on the older side of things, so maybe I wouldn't have paid him as much. But I mean, good for him. He's got the money. I mean, he doesn't care. He's got the money right now, and maybe the last year of his deal, they'll trade him to somebody, and he'll go win a Super Bowl. Yeah. Being a rotation of an edge rusher. Yeah. So we've seen guys like that go to teams and win at the end of their contract. So who knows will that happen? Let's go to the big question mark in Pittsburgh. Everyone's asking who's going to be the quarterback. Who's going to be the quarterback? Well, they did re-sign Mason Rudolph to a 2-year extension. So it looks like Mason Rudolph's the starting quarterback as of right now. Yeah. We don't know who's going to be the quarterback. It sounds like Aaron Rodgers is definitely a possibility up there. They're waiting on a few more things. I don't know. They're probably waiting on Aaron to come out from his darkness retreat. Yeah. and stuff like that and sign the contract.
Russell Wilson's still out there, too. I doubt he'll come back.
Yeah, I don't think they're bringing back Pitts. I don't think they're bringing him back. Yeah. I think they want to go a different route. But Mason Rudolph signed. They signed Kenneth Gainwell as well, the 1-year, $1.79 million deal. They acquired DK Metcalf in a trade to the Seattle Seahawks for a 2025 second-round pick, number 52, and a late-round pick swap.
I mean, I like the DK move. I mean, he's had a couple on and off years these past couple years, which means why he's probably worth a second-round pick opposed to like when he was in his prime, a first-round pick. But I mean, you need a quarterback to throw to these guys. Because Aaron Rodgers is a 1-year guy. He's got 1 more year left. There's no way that he's got a couple more years. But
I don't like the move.
I
think this is ridiculous, the move that they made. This was the dumbest move they could do.
Yeah.
You got 2 star diva wide receivers now in Pickens and DK.
Yeah.
You don't have a good offensive line. Your offensive line is piecemealed every single season.
Yeah.
It's like what the Bears used to do every single season until this season they finally addressed the offensive line. It's these defensive coaches that think they can piecemeal an offense and then win. You can't do it. You can't do that.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous to get someone like DK Metcalf. Is he going to... Can he throw the ball? Can he
if you trade him to.
for over 4,000 yards a season and throw for 50-plus touchdown passes? If he can do that, great. Then I am totally wrong about this trade. But he can't. You don't even have a good quarterback. And it's ridiculous. I mean, it's the reason why the Steelers haven't won anything in a while. It's like...
Yeah, they're not going to if they continue.
Since the Big Ben era has ended, it's like... They have 0 chance at winning. They got a great defense, but they got 0 chance at winning. I don't think they're going to do anything this season. It'll be interesting. Even if their quarterback is Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, no.
I think they'll get maybe 9-10 wins.
Yeah.
And then be a first-round knockout in the playoffs. Like
every year.
That's a Tomlin team right now. That's just Tomlin's got 1 Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He inherited the roster.
Yeah.
I mean, great on him. He's great. He's a great coach.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. He's got a winning record. He's never had a losing record. That is something That is amazing. Many organizations would love to have that. But I think he needs a fresh scenery somewhere else, and I think he'll win.
Yeah.
That's what I'm...
And he's not... Because there was a chance of speculations of him going around this offseason, but he didn't. And like you were saying, maybe that fresh scenery is what he needs. Now, another team who didn't really do much this offseason, a couple things, but the AFC South and the Houston Texans. Their big one is they acquired Christian Kirk in a trade with the Jaguars in exchange for a 7th-round pick.
That sounds like a Stephon Diggs replacement.
Yeah.
Just Diggs is not signed anymore. Christian Kirk's a decent wide receiver, limited route tree. But maybe he could be used. Maybe bring back the Christian Kirk of 2 years ago, who was very, very well with the Jaguars, and they didn't use him well this past season. But it'll be interesting to see what the Texans do. They're another roster that's fairly young, and they're on the up and up. So it should be interesting. You're really hoping for a C.J. Stroud third-year bump. He had a sophomore slump. Let's see what he can do in his 3rd season. It's concerning me a little bit about the C.J. Stroud. I don't think he's as good as we all thought he was after his rookie season.
Yeah.
So how far can he really take you? I mean, the best thing about it is he's in the AFC South.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very easy division. And anyone who comes from the AFC South will at least have a shot.
Yeah. Yeah. They also signed, they traded for C.J. Gardner-Johnson with a 6th-round pick in a trade with the Eagles for Kenyon Green and a 5th-rounder. That's a nice defensive guy. Stingley Jr. signed a 3-year, $90 million extension. And, Mario Edwards re-signed a 2-year deal. Not many moves, and they'd also lost Stephon Diggs in the offseason.
They acquired C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah.
It was for a 2026 6th-round pick and a trade with the Eagles for exchange with Ogard, Kenyon Green, and a 2026 5th-round pick. I think Kenyon Green was a former first-round draft pick.
I believe so. And they, and then they got Darrell Taylor, former Bear. But the Texans, they're I'd say they had a disappointing season last year. They lost in the playoffs. I mean, they made it to... Did they make the playoffs? I can't even remember. But, they had a disappointing season. Everyone's expected a lot more from C.J. Stroud. Another team that needs to pick up things and has had an interesting season and interesting quarterback room is the Indianapolis Colts. They signed...
crap franchise right now.
They signed Daniel Jones on a 1-year, $14 million deal with $13.15 million fully guaranteed.
Do you know what's funny? Their logo is a shoe.
Yeah.
It's a shoe for horses, so they use it to step in the mud.
Yeah.
And that's really what the definition of Indianapolis Colts, what they are right now. They're not the greatest run franchise we all thought they were.
Yeah.
They're not. They had the Peyton Manning era, which was great. They lucked in the Andrew Luck era, but they were too incompetent competent to extend that era and protect the quarterback very well. And they go out and they say, okay, we're going to sign Daniel Jones. He's going to compete for our starting job. This is ridiculous.
This is Daniel Jones.
Your quarterback quit mid-season and went off and said, I'm not feeling this play. Give me a sub. Give me a break. I regret every single moment of buying that jersey right there. That was the worst. Most expensive jersey because I bought it in Lucas Oil.
Oh, my gosh.
I bought that jersey in that game. He went down with an injury, and Gardner Minshew went in there, played his you-know-what off, and absolutely won my heart back with Gardner Minshew. If they would have just signed Gardner Minshew and traded Richardson away, I would have been completely fine with the move they did. This is just...
Can you tell he's frustrated with the Colts?
It's frustrating because this team, it's like it should be better. You have a great fan base, a great stadium. You just need to... Your owner is incompetent.
Yeah.
A little bit incompetence.
Yeah,
but
it's...
You signed Khalil Herbert to 1 year deal. Whoop-de-doo. You signed a bunch of guys that... It's not going to move the needle. Really.
Yeah.
It's not going to move the needle. You don't have a good quarterback. Let's be honest. I don't think... I'm all the way out on
he's not.
Anthony Richardson. I don't think he could be anything good in the NFL.
Since he said he was tired and wanted to set out a play, you don't do that. You're in the NFL. It doesn't matter what money you're making and what that. And
I lose respect for a guy like that. And like, how if you're a guy in the locker room, like, do you give him credit and say, no, this guy's going to win?
Yeah.
He's not. He's going to throw you more interceptions than he's going to do touchdowns. It's kind of ridiculous. But going from one really poverty franchise to another poverty franchise, let's talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Duval.
Duval.
You see the goal? Duval.
Duval.
When that happened, I saw that and I was like,
oh, it's over.
Oh, this is not going to be a good era. This is... Hey, over/under, is it going to be faster than the Urban Meyer era?
I think he'll last longer just because.
Yeah, I think it'll be longer because I think he can stay out of Ohio club. That's what I think he could do. They signed Nick Mullins to a 2-year deal, $6.5 million, backup quarterback. Whoop-de-doo. Diami Brown, they signed for a 1-year, $10 million deal. He was from the Commanders. He played with the Commanders last season, so hopefully he gives them a little bit of more juice. But really, this team's in just a weird place. Nobody really cares about them.
No.
If we're going to be honest, they're out of the sports media market, really.
Yeah.
They're in their own special niche. That's why nobody's very frustrated with them. But let me be frustrated for for the Jaguar fans here.
All right,
this is ridiculous. You haven't had a good season since 2017, and you lucked into that season basically with a great defense. You had Saxonville, that's what they were calling them. It's ridiculous. You got a quarterback who's not really bought into the game.
He's the second highest paid quarterback in the league, by the way. Second highest paid quarterback in the league.
He doesn't love doesn't love football. He's not married to the game like Mahomes and Allen and Lamar. He's not all in on football.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He's not going to win you a playoff game. He's not. He's not going to. And I don't think he'll bring you to another playoff game. He brought the Jags to a playoff game one year, but it's not going to happen again. And if you think Liam Cohen saying Duval is going to help them win a playoff game, then you're smoking something else, and I want to talk to your doctor.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
They're just all over the place. You can tell Colin's frustrated with them. I would say that they have a long way to go.
Frustrated with the whole AFC.
Yeah.
Like another poverty
okay, let's go.
The Tennessee Titans. Let's talk about the Titans.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, they stink.
Oh
they
my gosh.
Terrible.
They are bad. They have the first overall pick for a reason. They're going to draft Cam Ward. Cam Ward's going to flank off, and then there's just going to it's a constant cycle.
He's on the toilet right now, just scooping and shaking, putting a mayonnaise in his hand.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. You can't get anything right. You fired the one coach that gave you some good, good coaching, Mike Vrabel. You go with, it's just. I'm sorry.
They're all over the place.
This is crazy. This organization, they're gonna get a new stadium, so I don't think they really care.
Yeah.
But I don't see an opportunity for him to win.
No, there's no. I mean, Cam Ward could be the guy. He's very talented. He's got like that Lamar Jackson kind of Josh Allen scrambling ability. He's very talented, but who do you have on that team? Who's on that defense? Who's on that offense? They signed Van Jefferson to a 1-year deal. But he's old.
That'll do it. That's a Super Bowl winning move right there. Hey, and maybe
No.
the AFC South may luck you into a
Nothing's.
losing record in the AFC South might get you into the first slot in the playoffs.
I don't think anything's gonna happen with them anytime soon. It's a rough situation in Tennessee, and I don't think.
Let's stop talking about the AFC South. Let's go to the
AFC West.
Okay, from a poverty division into a good division.
Oh yeah, finally.
Let's go to a good division.
Yeah.
In Denver, they surprised a lot of people. Bo Nix played very, very well as a rookie quarterback. Sean Payton got the boys playing very well in Denver. I really think this is going to be a very good year for the Broncos. If you look at it, the Chiefs are going to be rebuilding a little bit. You don't really know what the Chargers are doing. There's a lot of rumors going on with the Chargers. I'll talk about when we go back and talk about the Chargers. They're in a little bit of a limbo, and of course, I can't really take the Raiders seriously.
Yeah.
You signed, you went out and got Pete Carroll, and then you went and got Geno. So you're just going to have the same Seahawks team that they had that missed the playoffs or first-year knockouts. I don't really take them seriously at all. So Denver is really the team I'm looking out for. They could win this division this year. I think they could definitely win the AFC West. It is very, very possible. They were very close at beating the Chiefs 2 years in a row. They were the two times, I think one time actually, it was in Kansas City. That they were very close at beating them. If it wasn't for a blocked field goal, they would have had that game won. So I think Denver's going to take a huge step forward. Let's talk about some of their signings. They got Dre Greenlaw. They signed him to a 3-year deal, $35 million. So that's very good. I think that's a very good add to your defense. It looks like Sean Payton's looking for a specific type of guy they want around the room, and he's done a very good job at piecing this team together, being very good. Evan Ingram signed a 2-year, $23 million deal. So Evan Ingram, he played for the Jaguars, and he's had some decent seasons.
Good tight end.
He's a decent tight end, and I think he'll provide value to Bo Nix in this offense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Talon Hufanga signed a 3-year deal up to $45 million. So that's a good safety piece there. Jared Stidham, a 2-year, $12 million deal, backup quarterback for Bo Nix.
Don't forget about the punter, Matt Hack.
Yeah.
He is the guy. He's the guy.
You could just tell.
Best punter in the NFL right now, hands down.
Yeah. Another team that could have an off year, could have a good year, and if they can bounce back, is the Kansas City Chiefs. They signed your guy, Gardner Minshew.
My guy, Minshew Mania.
He's not going to probably get much playing time as long as Patrick Mahomes is there. Bailey Zappi re-signed on a 1-year deal. Kareem Hunt re-signed on a 1-year deal. Elijah Mitchell signed a 1-year deal. Marquise Brown signed a 1-year contract. Juju Smith-Schuster 1-year deal.
They're giving out 1-year deals like.
Yeah, and they're just, Matt Araiza.
They re-signed Nick Bolton.
Tendered by the team,
Nick Bolton to a 3-year, $45 million contract, $30 million guaranteed. And
a lot of these guys they're just re-signing. The franchise tag Trey Smith. But
no money to sign guys when you got someone like Patrick Mahomes on your roster taking that much space.
Yeah, it's a lot of guys on a 1-year deal. Like you were saying, money is a big issue there. And that's what it seems like the constant trend is with this Chiefs team. They'll bring in different guys each year and get it done each year. You had these first ones with Tyreek, and then you brought in Juju for that second one, and then you brought in Juju again, and then you had D-Hop, and then you have all these guys that are going around, and then you have Rashee Rice now and Xavier Worthy. So they have the guys on their team. They just keep bringing in 1-year guys to fill that hole.
Yeah. Let's talk about the retirement of the NFL. Raiders, where players go to just have a blissful ending of their career.
Yeah.
Of course, we talked about Pete Carroll. We talked about Geno Smith. He goes to the Las Vegas Raiders in exchange for a 2025 third-round draft pick. Okay.
I think it was a good thing for the Seahawks to get rid of him for what they got.
Yeah, it was great for the Seahawks to get rid of him. They needed to get rid of Geno. It was about time they've reached their cap of what they could get with Geno. So, I don't know what the Raiders are. I really don't. We signed Max Crosby, 3-year extension. He wants to be a Raider for life. Okay, cool. Raheem Mostert signs 1-year deal.
He's old.
Why?
Yeah. They're probably, if I had to guess.
He's very injury prone.
Yeah, and they got Jeremy Chin, SIU legend. But like you were saying, it's going to be hard to take them seriously, especially when they have to play the Chargers twice a year, the Broncos twice a year, and the Chiefs twice a year. They're going to be stuck in a hole for a long time if Geno Smith doesn't become like the second coming of Michael Vick or something. But it's crazy because they're just not. They're just gonna be stuck in that hole forever. But another team that could be good next year is the Los Angeles Chargers.
We'll see. There's a lot of rumors coming around.
Yeah.
And, I was watching a couple of videos today, and that's okay. Who knows if they're as credible or not? Did it break?
No.
No.
Okay.
I don't
Yes.
know.
No. Maybe so. All right.
I will just hold the mic.
Keep
I will
talking.
just hold the mic.
You watched the video.
Oh yeah, I watched the video, and it was like a really funny like rumor thing, or at least reports have been said. I don't even know.
We'll just take it off. Just keep talking.
I can hold the mic like this. Let's do this.
We didn't touch it in here.
No, it's all good. Well, I was
Keep talking. Your video.
I have no idea. Oh yeah, talking about a video I watched on TikTok recently. It was kind of funny. It was like some reports are saying the Vikings are trying to trade for Justin Herbert. So that would be a weird move if that even happens. I mean, John Harbaugh loves his Herbert. I mean, get somebody who talks to you the way Harbaugh talks about Herbert. He loves Herbert. So it'd be interesting. That would be very wild if that would even happen. They signed Najee Harris. I could have seen that coming on. Najee Harris signed a 1-year deal worth $5.25 million. Very good running back. He was not utilized well in Pittsburgh, and plus that Pittsburgh offensive line was really, really bad. He should have a better offensive line with the Chargers this season. Is that better?
It could be. Okay. Try that. Oh.
Okay, that might be good.
We're back. All right,
There we
Najee
go.
Harris.
But Najee Harris, yeah, he's a very good running back, and I
Yeah.
think not utilized well in Pittsburgh, and I think it will be way better used in the Chargers, who like to run the ball. They want to run the ball. With this signing with Najee Harris, he's the number one guy there.
Yeah, I would agree there. Yeah, you haven't had a solid running back in LA since Austin Eckler left, or since he had a bad year.
They had J.K. Dobbins
He wasn't
last
bad,
year, who
but-
did decent, but he's not going to be
he's-
the guy. I think Najee's going to be the guy.
Because Najee's still younger, too. I believe he's 20. Don't get me wrong. I think he's 26, 25. He's 27. So he's still on the younger side for running back. He's got about 3 more good years in him. And he's on a 1-year deal. So if he does good, you extend him. But there's a lot of good things that happen with this team. They re-signed Khalil Mack, too. They signed Mike Williams. They signed Jalen Reagor. That's a good name I haven't heard in forever. But yeah, Taylor Heineke on a 1-year deal. So you're building up a lot of pieces on this offense. And it would be interesting to see where they go this year, especially with Jim Harbaugh as their coach.
We could talk about the Cowboys and see what they did. They went all in last year. Didn't work out. But they're signing Miles Sanders to a 1-year deal. He's a running back. Javonte Williams again for a 1-year deal. Both of them are on the same level. Paris Campbell, they signed a 1-year deal. Wide receiver and offensive guard Robert Jones signed a 1-year deal. Dante Fowler Jr. signed for 1 year. Edge rusher Peyton Turner signed for a 1-year deal. So a lot of 1-year deals. I mean, they got a couple.
The Cowboys, I'd say they're a joke franchise. They're never going to get it done. You got rid of Mike McCarthy this year. You promoted your offensive coordinator as their head coach. Jerry Jones doesn't take this franchise seriously.
It's crazy.
You have decent running backs this year. Don't get me wrong. Adding 2 pretty mediocre. I mean, Javonte Williams was really good last year. Miles Sanders has been on and off. But having a solid running back room, that'll boost your team. But Dak, you extended him. He got injured. He's probably not going to play the best this year. You still have CD. You still have a decent defense. But I don't think the Cowboys can be taken seriously.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to win much. You have Dak as quarterback, and you have Jerry Jones as your GM. So you got 2 things working against you there. So I really don't think they're going to do amazing. They'll just do a lot of talk of them this season, but I don't think they're going to make any serious contention. Let's talk about another team that's not going to make serious contention, and the New York Giants.
Yeah.
We signed Tommy DeVito to a 1-year deal, so...
Who's going to be their quarterback, though? They're probably going to draft. If I had to guess, they're going to draft
Tommy DeVito, man. Tommy DeVito.
Or Tommy DeVito, Tommy Cutlass. They signed Amir Smith-Marset, or he re-signed with them. Darius Slayton re-signed with them. Stone Forsythe re-signed him. But nobody's going to want... Javon Holland signed a 3-year deal with the Giants. Nobody's going to want to go to the Giants, though, unless they get a huge amount of money. They're so far out of contention, it's not even funny. And they have no quarterback. No quarterback is going to – whoever they draft.
They really just need a quarterback because I think a quarterback fixes a lot of things for this organization. They got, I think, a great offensive mind of coach in Brian Dable. Yeah. I think he's very good, and I think he's done what he could do with Daniel Jones and the Giants. I don't think they've given him the best of talent.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think that you either take Shador in this draft because you're not obviously going to get – Cam Ward. Cam Ward's going to the Titans. You're not going to – I don't know if you're going to get Shador this draft. Now, I would be okay with the Giants tanking another year and getting Arch next year. And when next year is a better quarterback class. But it would be interesting to see what they end up doing this year, especially with the state of this program.
Let's talk about the defending Super Bowl champions and the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
Which they – re-signed an extension to they've actually extended Saquon Barkley for 2 years, $41.2 million, with $36 million guaranteed as well. They traded for Dorian Thompson-Robinson in a trade with the Browns, along with for a fifth-round draft pick in exchange for Kenny Pickett. So they get Dorian Thompson-Robinson in exchange with the Kenny Pickett trade.
I think
They signed A.J. Dillon to a one-year contract.
That's name I haven't heard in a while. I think he was all injured. He was injured last year.
He was injured last season. So, I mean, hey, man, if you can get those thighs chugging.
Tush push guy, dude.
If you.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
With his thighs just put him behind.
Yeah. Yeah, it's. The Eagles, they're set. And I think what would have made them even more set.
They lost a couple guys, but that was expected by design, letting the young guys come up. So they're going to be good for the next couple seasons.
I think
it should be interesting. With the conversation should be who's going to be better. Is it going to be Washington, who added a bunch this year, or is it going to be the Eagles, who lost a little bit this season?
Now, if you could have landed Myles Garrett, this team would have gone through the roof. You have room. You don't need as many. You don't need your first-round picks, honestly. If you're the Eagles, you don't need your first-round picks the next couple of years. Your defense is so young.
Oh, you have so many young.
Never. Yeah, but if you could have got Myles Garrett for
hit on every single first-round pick, so I wouldn't be giving up first-round.
But if you could have got Myles Garrett,
sounds like the Bears who don't hit on first-round draft picks. Let's talk about Roma Donze.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's talk about another team, the Commanders. We were talking about them as well. They acquired Deebo Samuel in a trade with the 49ers. You needed a wide receiver. He provides you a good, unique way of catching and running the ball with Deebo. Zach Ertz, they re-signed him. They got Laramie Tunsil from the Texans.
Yeah, that was an interesting one.
Very good. They're getting their offensive line checked. Very good.
Now, I don't understand why the Texans would get rid of Laramie Tunsil because their offensive line was atrocious last year. Laramie Tunsil was one of the best guys on that line. I guess for the right price, but for a fourth-round pick, that's kind of yeah. But I don't know because he is 30, so he's kind of getting older. But still, that Texans offensive line is atrocious. But the Commanders are in contention. Jaden Daniels is one of the best, like you said it before. He's one of the, if not the most talented quarterback in the league right now. And we could see that going on the seasons to come. And they're in a really good spot right now. They have a lot of older guys on the roster with Bobby Wagner. I'd argue
Jaden Daniels is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah. Based on the year he had last year, they just have a lot of older guys. And if Deebo Samuel can play like he did with the Niners during their Super Bowl run and when he was really good, a fifth-round pick for him is really good. But that's just depends what kind of guy you get for him because you lost Zacchaeus and then I think you lost I forget who else, but they lost a couple guys this offseason. But they're probably gonna be one of the top teams this next year. They re-signed a lot of guys on a 1-year deal though.
They did. Let's move on to the NFC North. I'm gonna let you say all the Bears signings. I know you keep up with them a lot more than I did.
Yeah.
What did the Chicago Bears do this offseason?
They did what they needed to do. Ryan Poles addressed the offensive line. Long overdue addressed the offensive line. But that's what you need.
Sure, it was Ryan Bowles. It was not Ryan Bowles. That was Ben Johnson.
So they have Joe Thuney on a trade with the Chiefs in exchange for a 4th-round draft pick. Drew Dahlman signed a 3-year, $42 million contract. He's probably, I would say, the best free agent signing that they got. He's one of the top centers in the league, and you Bears haven't had a top center for a long time.
I mean, he's not the top center. He's a very serviceable center.
But we have
the Falcons.
The Bears haven't had a guy in the front of that line that can lead.
We haven't had a serviceable center in a while.
And they brought in Grady Jarrett, a really good interior defensive lineman. We haven't had a solid interior defensive lineman other than Billings since Akeem Hicks. So that's good that they brought in him. And
I love me some Akeem Hicks. Looking back at the highlights. Yeah. Oh, if you ever want to laugh, just watch his mic'd up. Those are so funny. You just see him screaming.
Devin Duvernay on a 1-year contract. Alameda Zacchaeus on a 1-year contract. Durham's Smythe on a 1-year contract. So there's a lot of serviceable guys. Not a guy that's going to give you breakout thing every time. But Durham Smythe is a good tight end too. He's a good
it's put him very in there, obvious who is in charge here.
Yeah.
They handed the keys to Ben Johnson.
They also signed
He makes probably twice as much as Ryan Poles does. So if I'm the McCaskies, go ahead.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson, you are going to be the one in charge.
Yeah.
You make the most money here. You're in charge.
Yeah, and they also signed. They signed Jonah Jackson as well. So they signed 2 offensive guards, a center, an edge, defensive tackle, and then they re-signed a couple other guys. But I think that the re-signing the 2 guards and a center, your interior line is what really struggled. You have Braxton Jones and you have Darnell Wright. Darnell Wright is he's a first-round draft pick 2 years ago. He played really good. He kind of had an off year, but I think that you add Braxton Jones and Darnell Wright to these 3 solid interior offensive linemen that you get, and then go ahead and draft another offensive lineman in the first round, and then you got really good offensive linemen with really good depth. That's because, like you said before,
I think they opened themselves up with the way they've done their offensive line. They've opened themselves up. They don't have to go offensive line in this draft.
Yeah,
they don't have to. There's not as many. They got one. They got the one tackle or guard from LSU.
Yeah,
Will Campbell. Will Campbell. Who's, if he falls, they could pick him. But they've really opened themselves up into possibly getting a guy, maybe on the defensive side of the ball, to be an edge rusher as well. I really don't know if you need another offensive player.
Yeah.
You drafted Rome last year, so you shouldn't need to get a wide receiver.
A lot of fingers have been pointing towards Ashton Genty, too. He's very talented. We talked about it before. The big thing that worries me is his talent he played against.
Talent per value.
Yeah.
For me, it's talent per value. What kind of, in a class? I get it. If Ashton Genty was in a class that maybe Bijan Robinson was in a class.
Yeah.
I'd pick him in the first round.
Yeah.
But there's so many good running backs that are coming out of this class.
Yeah.
That I'm not spending a first round pick on Genty. I'm sorry. I'm not spending a top 10 pick on Genty. He may be the best in the world. I don't think he's the most athletically gifted. He's not a Bijan Robinson, who we thought he's a big guy coming out, great athletic running back.
Yeah.
Okay, I can understand that pick by the Falcons. But he's a little on the smaller side.
Yeah.
He put up great stats.
He's a very powerful
put up great stats
back,
at Boise. Yeah. So, I mean, you take that with a grain of salt. So, I don't know. And they were just feeding him the ball, too. They were just feeding the ball. So, I don't know. I don't like that. I wouldn't be too happy if they went Genty at that position, just because.
They also still have DeAndre Swift. He's on the older side, but he can give you another year.
You have Swift.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have Swift. You signed him.
I think that
you got a couple guys in there that.
Yeah.
They're okay. If you want to get somebody in the second or third round where you could get a nice value draft pick.
Yeah. It's a very
guy.
Very deep running back draft, and we covered that a couple episodes ago. But I think that you definitely got to go offensive line, or if there's a defensive player there, or else best available. I think Genty is what people are thinking. I don't know if it's what Ben Johnson is thinking. I don't know if it's the right move. I wouldn't hate it, but I think there's a lot that you need to address. And now, like you were saying, they addressed the offensive line, but at the same time, the defensive side of the ball, I think you need one more weapon. They did sign Odedum. I don't know how to say it, Odeyingbo or whatever, but Odeyingbo out of he was on Indy last year, and he's gonna be very solid. But I think you should draft a young guy to go opposite of Montez Sweat for the future. All right, enough Bears talk. Let's go to the Detroit Lions. They didn't sign many people. They lost a couple people in the offseason. They signed DJ Reed in a free agent deal. They signed Kyle Allen and Tim Patrick re-signed to a 1-year deal. Dan Skipper re-signed. Pat O'Connor re-signed. Davenport re-signed. Lopez re-signed. Derek Barnes signed a 3-year, $25 million contract. So the Lions are kind of gearing up. It's going to be an interesting year, especially with new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. A lot of new things in the Lions franchise this year. We could see a downfall year. We could see them pick it right back up. I don't know. It'd definitely be a very interesting year for Detroit.
They got to replace 2 coordinators. It'll be very interesting to see how there'll be probably some growing pains throughout the season with the offense and the defense side of the ball. They have a lot of talent there, but they just need to grow with their new offense, their new offense coordinator, and so it's going to take a little bit. Give them till Thanksgiving. I think the same thing with the Bears. Give them till Thanksgiving because they're not going to look great at the start. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
but they give them till Thanksgiving, and by Thanksgiving you should know who's going to start playing good football.
Yeah, another team that who really is off and on every year. The Green Bay Packers. They didn't sign many people this offseason. They signed Mecole Hardman on a 1-year deal. They signed Aaron Banks on a 4-year deal. That's their biggest guy there.
It'll be very interesting to see because now that Ben Johnson is with the Bears, I'd argue to say Ben Johnson's a better offensive coordinator than Matt LaFleur.
Yeah.
Whatever is.
Yeah.
I argue that Matt LaFleur is probably the 3rd best coach in the NFC North.
I would say so.
About 3rd best.
Yeah, he's improved.
Kevin O'Connell and Ben Johnson for offensive side.
He hasn't proven anything yet.
I mean,
yeah.
And Dan Campbell, he doesn't call plays, so we really can't rank him very fairly. And I don't think the Packers really. It doesn't feel like they believe in just Jordan Love.
Yeah.
I almost said Justin Fields. I don't think they believe in Jordan Love, really.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I think they took a step back in management last season. They said, wait a minute. Do we really want him as our quarterback? He has made some really bad decisions, especially this past season, that didn't help them move things along. They got a bunch of young wide receiver core. Really not one guy that stands out, though, that you hope would take the leap. Because you would hope this season at least one of those guys is taking the leap and say, I'm going to be the next Devontae Adams that they used to have. So it'll be very interesting to see. But, I mean, I could see Green Bay finishing 3rd or 2nd in the division and not making the playoffs.
I could see it too. Yeah, especially in a division where you're going to have. As for the Bears, this is the year that you need to do it because it's going to be wide open. The Packers are off and on. The Vikings are going to have a new quarterback starting. The Lions have 2 coordinators going in there. So I think that this is going to be the year that's wide open for the division and someone can make a run. I mean, it could be any of these 4 teams, but
it's a division that's very, very intense and it'll take a while for the Bears, I believe.
Yeah.
It'll take till Thanksgiving, so I don't think they'll win the division, but I think they might do pretty decently, and if you can get an okay record by Thanksgiving, then start getting the boys playing well, so it should be good for them. But let's go to the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota Vikings, they re-signed Aaron Jones, a 2-year, $20 million deal. They acquired Jordan Madison in a trade with the 49ers for the 2025 Jordan Mason.
Yeah, Mason.
The 2025 6th-round draft pick in exchange for a 5th-round.
He was really good last year with the Niners.
Yeah, he was good. He was pretty good. I think that was more of the system. It was more of the system. He's an okay running back. I don't think he's as talented as someone like they had Christian McCaffrey, so they really missed him. But it should be interesting. They don't know who's going to be quarterback there. Sam Darnold is gone from the team, so it looks like J.J. McCarthy, if he's healthy, is going to be the starter. We don't know. There's a lot of speculation. Like I said earlier, they have a lot of cap space. They were trying to make a quote-unquote move for Justin Herbert. So if that happens, they're an automatic Super Bowl contender.
I don't see a world where the Chargers give up Justin Herbert.
If they do, automatic contender.
The Vikings, though, J.J. McCarthy, he hasn't proven anything in the league yet, but he's got all the weapons around him that he needs, and he has the coach he needs.
How about this? Harrison Smith returns for his 14th season with Minnesota after agreeing to a 1-year contract. Wow.
Yeah.
He's played 14 seasons in the NFL.
That's crazy.
And all with Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts.
And still no Super Bowl to show for it. All right. Now to the NFC South.
Yikes.
You got the Atlanta Falcons. They didn't sign many people. They lost some people in the offseason. Like Drew
what is
Dalman
with the AFC South and NFC South? They can't do football right.
This division is very bad. You're gonna have Michael Penix leading this team this year. Kirk Cousins, he's technically still on the Falcons roster. He's like another guy that's out there that could go somewhere. They didn't really sign many people. Leonard Floyd signed a 1-year deal. Morgan Street signed a 2-year deal. There's not many people that re-signed deals to Atlanta. They kind of lost more assets than they gained this offseason. They weren't terrible last year. They will have to see what Michael Penix has built for, and I don't know. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, it should be interesting. Carolina's going to be a little bit better this year. I think they're going to take a step back better. They got a decent offensive line. Bryce Young, you give him another year. Hopefully, they get things rolling again. I like what I see there. I don't think I expect them to do much playoff-wise, but definitely winning and maybe become a 500 team would probably be the goal for this team. Just have a good season, stay out of controversies, and just have a decent season. And I think they could do it this year. They signed Rico Dowdle to a 1-year deal. That's just a running back you can play in. So they made a bunch of little depth moves and kind of little upgrades. They didn't spend a bunch of money because you don't want to spend a bunch of money right now.
Yeah, J.C. Horn agreed in terms of a 4-year extension worth $100 million. Andy Dalton re-signed to a 2-year deal, so he's probably going to finish out his career as a Panther. He's a good backup. But I think Bryce Young is set up for a good year this year.
Yeah.
They have one of the best offensive lines in the league. And I think that'll be interesting. A team that's not set up for the future, not set up to have a good year, and not set up to have a good next 10 years is the New Orleans Saints.
10 years. Yeah, really, because they keep pushing back their contracts. They keep backloading their contracts.
Worst cap space in the entire league. We covered that a couple episodes ago.
It's probably one of the worst teams right now with the thing. They got Justin Reed to sign a 3-year, $31.5 million deal. Chase Young to return on a 3-year, $51 million deal. Cam Jordan returning for his 15th season with the New Orleans Saints after agreeing to his his existing contract, probably to push back the money so they could sign all these players.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. So I don't expect much from them this season. I don't even think Derek Carr is going to be the quarterback. You can't go.
Brand new coach. I don't know, because Kellen Moore isn't. There's not. I don't know. They're all over the place. All right, we just have another division. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're gonna have I think they're gonna have an interesting year. Chris Godwin re-signing a 3-year deal. Sterling Shepard signing to a 1-year deal. Kyle Trask re-signing as a backup quarterback on a 1-year deal. Hassan Reddick, they brought him in.
They're gonna be haunted by the Duval
whispers. Yeah, but Baker Mayfield's
new offensive coordinator. Liam Cohen's gone, so it's a new offense.
Yeah.
This team, I think, takes a step back. I think they take a step back because they're getting another year older, and they're just – I don't know if they'll be as good because they got a new offensive coordinator for the 3rd season in a row.
Yeah.
It should be interesting. I hate to sound, like, down on a team, but it's just like I don't know if they're going to be as good to contend. I don't think – you can't look at this team and say they're going to be a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They're just not.
Yeah, exactly. Not much going on with that team. Another team is the Arizona Cardinals. This division is also another interesting one. Jacoby Brissett signed a 2-year, $12.5 million deal, $8 million guaranteed. The Cardinals didn't really bring in many people. They brought in Josh Sweat. That was probably their other biggest asset.
The big thing is like, what do you want to do with Kyler Murray? Is he your guy? Is he not your guy? And if he's not your guy, you got to find out quick.
This is the year.
Trade him and stuff like that. He's had a couple years, and it hasn't looked the best. This past season has its moments. You thought he was going to mature and be a better quarterback. He didn't end up that way. It's interesting, and we'll see how Arizona does. That's what I'll just put it as, but they're certainly not the best team in their division. They got the Los Angeles Rams. Now, this is a team who's prepped up for a Super Bowl run.
Oh, yeah, they're ready.
They're ready to go. They got Jimmy G returning on 1-year deal. Matthew Stafford agreed to restructure his contract. They re-signed they agreed to terms with Ronnie Rivers, and they got wide receiver Devontae Adams signed to a 2-year, $46 million deal. Great move, because one thing that Cooper Kupp didn't have, Cooper Kupp couldn't separate for the life of him. He couldn't separate on routes. Devontae Adams still could separate on routes and is very good when compared to Cooper Kupp. So Devontae Adams makes sense to sign him, to pair him with Puka Nacua. That is a great team right now. I think they're restructuring the offensive line. They got a nice young defense. They re-signed Tutu Atwell, which should be a good thing in the wide receiver room. I think they're prepped for another run. I think they win the division this year.
That's what they're going for, and I think the division is wide open, especially with some of these next two teams. I don't think the Cardinals are going to do anything. I don't think the 49ers are going to do anything.
They did do something. They signed Mac Jones to a 2-year deal. Going to be their future quarterback, maybe.
I don't know.
Who knows with the contract coming up with Brock Purdy, how much do you really want to pay him?
Yeah.
That is the big question everyone seems to want to ask. Who knows? The 49ers are the ones who are going to offer the contract, and we'll just react to it. But they're in a restructuring year. They lost a lot of guys this year, and they have a lot of they draft well, but they're going to need to replace a lot of guys this season. They lost a lot. So it's a restructuring year. Definitely not going to be a winning year.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely it's going to be all over the place. And I think, like we were saying, that this is wide open for the Rams. And we saw that kind of last year. And another team that needs to put some pieces together is the Seahawks. This is the last one on our list. The Seattle Seahawks assigned Sam Darnold a 3-year, $100 million deal with $55 million guaranteed. After one good year in Minnesota, he cost himself a bigger contract by that, playing terrible in that past game. But he's still younger. The Seahawks improved. I think he's an improvement from Geno. And I don't know. This is the guy for the future. They have a younger team.
You may compare him to, like, Baker Mayfield, but I'd rather take Baker over Sam.
Yeah.
I think Sam's going to be a little worse than he was last season. He had a Hall of Fame wide receiver throwing to a very good offensive line and very good wide receiver in Jordan Addison. Now he's going to a team who's lost some wide receiver talent, who doesn't have the best offensive line. I mean, it's pretty bad right now. But who signed Cooper Kupp, which is a very much a question mark.
Yeah, 31-year-old Cooper Kupp on a 3-year deal.
That is ridiculous.
That's old.
He's not going to last 3 years.
No.
With his injury issue, I was surprised he didn't retire this season.
I don't mind them bringing in Cooper Kupp because you need that kind of veteran experience for like Jackson Smith and Jibba. Or you have also bringing in MVS. So there's going to be 3 receivers. And I think the Seahawks are going to have a good year. Last year was kind of off and on. And I think it's entirely a new offense.
You can only take you so much as where Geno could. And I think Sam Darnold was younger. He's younger, and he's obviously got his ceiling's a little higher than Geno is. So I think they made that move because of that. They wanted him. So it should be interesting to see. I think it's an okay deal. I'm not saying it's the worst. They have 3 years to figure out if Sam's the guy, and if he's not the guy, then okay, ship him off.
Yeah, I mean you don't have much. I mean you don't have much to lose with it because your team's still pretty young. You have a lot of talent on their team, but I think that wraps up a lot of free agency signing. There's not much NFL news we're gonna cover, but most of the NFL news is free agency signings. The only big piece of news is Lane Johnson signed an extension through 2027. Brandon Graham retires after 15 seasons, and the draft is approaching. So be on the lookout for some ASP draft content. Draft is in about a little over a month. There's a lot of talent. This draft should be interesting considering there isn't much quarterback talent, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of pieces fit into which kind of teams.
Not much quarterback talent, but the top 3 teams need quarterbacks. You're talking about the Titans, the Browns, and the Giants. All need quarterbacks, but not a great quarterback draft, so it should be interesting. Should get some movement probably up top if somebody likes some of these quarterbacks and jump in.
We could see some of that coming in the next couple of weeks as well. We'll definitely have a mock draft episode, possibly a deep dive into that. Oh, and Texans they signed Danielle Hunter to a 1-year extension through 2026. They'll make $55 million over the next 2 seasons. That's a good asset for that defense. But yeah, I think that's the most of the stuff we needed to cover. And there's just a couple NFL. We'll cover these rule change proposals real quick. The Packers proposed to ban the tush push. I mean, teams are you can do it. Everybody can do the tush push. No one can execute it to the level of the Eagles, and you're trying to ban it just because of it.
Why would you ban it? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
The Lions have proposed a postseason format which will allow wildcard teams to be a higher seed in the division. Champions if the wildcard team would have a better regular season record. Okay, that's just another rule because the Lions are salty. The Steelers want to allow teams to have direct contact with free agents and set up travel during the negotiation window. Currently, clubs are only permitted to speak with agents and cannot contact travel schedule until the league year begins. That's just another small rule. And there was another rule. I forget who proposed it. But the big one was the tush push ban. And there was a rule about overtime rules, but we see that every offseason.
Yeah.
But I think this has been a good episode of the Anytime Sports Podcast, just over an hour. So hopefully you guys enjoyed our lone in-person episode because I have to go back to school. So it's good to be back, and hopefully hopefully your team got some good free agents. There's still a couple guys out there, Aaron Rodgers. A couple of those guys that'll be interesting to see in the future.
Diggs, Russell Wilson,
Tyler Lockett,
Jameis.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys out there.
You got Amari Cooper, Tyler Lockett,
Yeah.
Tevin Jenkins, guys like that.
There's the biggest guys out there still. So the bulk of free agency is in the books, but you still got a couple guys out there. We can be on the look for that in the next couple of weeks. But I think it's been a good episode of the Anytime Sports Podcast show. It's good that we were able to do one in person for a while. But yeah, all right. See you guys later.
See you guys.
Our work is never over.